Bop, bop, ba-da-da-da. Good morning, everybody. This is Grant with State of the S.M.A.R.T, checking in with you the day before Christmas. I am so excited for today, specifically because the news that we've got going on today is super interesting. I'm super intrigued at the news we're going to cover today. But before we get into that, I do want to share with you that today we're actually going to be touching on the one thing missing from your goal setting. And no, it's not SMART. How many of you are sick of SMART goals? Lord knows I'm sick of SMART goals, right? So this is not about SMART goals. This is actually how to make any of your goals, SMART or not SMART, take the next level. So we're going to cover that this morning. We're going to cover some crazy other news. But before any of that, I've got a cup of gratitude. I'd love to hear what you're grateful for today. Please do share with me what's going on in your heart, what you're happy for this holiday season. Maybe you've got the day off today. Maybe you've got a few days off. Maybe you're working, and that's good. Maybe you got family. What I am grateful for today is my in-laws, Marissa's brother and wife, and our nephew are visiting us for the holidays. And it's awesome because I think this is one of the first holidays that we've had family visit us in our lovely home, in our lovely little town. We get to show people where we got married and where we work. I am grateful to share my life with family, to share our space with family. How about you guys? We so rarely see our folks on the holidays. It's just really lovely to see them. So I'm grateful for that. What are you grateful for today? What are you grateful for today? We've got meaningful work today that I'm excited to check out. But before any of that, before we get into goal setting, and I hope you're taking time to unwind, my friend. I hope you are pausing and taking time to loosen up, to sit back, maybe drink some eggnog, maybe drink some Breckenridge bourbon like we did last night, and actually revisit your goals for yourself. We're going to actually help you do that with the one thing most of you totally leave out when you write your goals. We're going to address that. And it's obvious. When I say it, you're going to be like, duh. But before any of that, let's talk about other news. Here we go. So scientists have invented a new glue. Said, if my grade school self, Joe Child says, I'm grateful for 2020 was his best year for personal growth. Joe, let me tell you something. I could probably vouch for that, man. And me and Joe didn't even spend a lot of time together this year. But observing Joe on the outside looking in, he made a lot of changes. He made a lot of adjustments in their minimalizing their life and making some changes. Man, he's taken that next level. Who else here? Tammy Schneider just says, good morning. Good morning, Tammy. I hope you're doing fantastic. And Monica, the lovely Monica. And let me tell you something. Monica's TikTok account just keeps me going, man. She says, grateful for 2 families moving into new homes today. I love it. Good morning. Thank you so much for sharing what you're grateful for, you lovely people. In today's other news, scientists have invented a new glue. Get this. They've invented a new glue that's activated by a magnetic field. It saves time and energy because you don't need all that crazy heat. So basically, they have found a way to cure glue by passing it through a magnetic field. Imagine having just like a liquid on 2 popsicle sticks and holding them together and passing them through a magnetic field, and suddenly they stick together, permanently bonded. You see, most glues happen through heat or light or air, and generally with air, it's moisture, and that activates the chemicals that make the hardening of the glue. In this case, and what happens is the bonds cross-link, and then they crystallize in place. And that's kind of what makes glue work. This new process called magnetocuring, whatever. They've infused nanoparticles into the glue. And then when they pass it through a magnetic field, it does the crystallizing in place. Crazy town. They've invented this because in places like space, where you might not have oxygen, you might not have light, you might not have heat, they can actually pass a magnetic field over 2 pieces of metal with this chemical, and it actually bond it and do repairs in space. There's a lot of applications here. But the big win is that it doesn't take up all the heat. It doesn't take up all the light. You literally, like when you do massive industrial magnetizing or gluing, there has to usually be a lot of heat, a lot of welding. Imagine with the magnetic field produced from the same amount of energy as a convection oven. Imagine that actually is all you need, and it passes through and suddenly it's magnetized. So there's a lot of energy saving as well. So these are the times to be alive, my friends. So magnetic nanoparticles, let me just share that with you right here. Boom. For those who want to read the article, there you go. And in other news, statistically, I am going to deliver to you, and I hope I don't butcher it, the funniest joke in the world. Now, a few quick points about this. And this was done by a survey of over 1 million people, but literally the funniest joke in the world. And I'm laughing, and I shouldn't. I should do like deadpan, because who knows if you'll find it funny. And I find it moderately funny, and I know we all have preferences, but based on the statistics, I am going to deliver to you the funniest joke in the world. But before that, a few fun facts. The best jokes in the world, on average, are about 103 letters long, and that's it. Now, running gags are pretty funny, and those are the exception to the rule, right? On average, the average person laughs about 17.5 times a day. And when anthropologists studied why people laugh and what function it has, well, anthropologically, what function? Like, it feels good, there's serotonin, there's all kinds of good things. But one thought they had is it evolved from the idea that it communicates complete safety. You're being loud, you're joyful, you're talking about things that aren't heavy. So generally, when you're unsafe, you lower your voice, you hide, you only talk about the threat of the moment, and everyone is in agreement about that threat. So it's a thing called the benign violation theory, I believe. And in benign violation theory, a good joke basically makes you feel uncomfortable or unsafe, right? Someone says something awkward, and you're like, oh, where are they going with this? And then they make it safe by either making fun of themselves or turning it into a joke. And so the funniest jokes make you feel unsafe at first, and then safe and awkward. So it kind of has this pivot. So then they also did a study. You know how we say too soon? That joke is too soon. How soon is too soon? Statistically, they found that it takes about 17 days for a national tragedy to be received as a joke. So everyone just mark it on your calendars for the next national tragedy. You can put it on your calendars about 17 days from now. I can start working up my jokes about this thing where you make people feel really unsafe, but then you actually make them feel safe again. Now, the example that the one guy I was watching said about this is, the example is if you had a friend or a parent when you were a kid tickle you, and it's like, okay, technically you're violating my space, but it's someone that I trust, it's someone that I'm safe with, and so it turns into laughter. Whereas he contrasted it, if someone on a bus walked up to you and started tickling you, it's just a plain violation, and there is no safe space whatsoever. So those are some of the dynamics of jokes. So here is what is statistically the funniest joke in the world. Basically, two hunters were in the woods hunting, and a gun goes off. The guy twists his ankle and busts his ankle, and his friend says, "Oh my gosh, let me call 911." So he calls 911, and he says, "Okay, my friend's bleeding out. His ankle's twisted or broken. He's bleeding, and I what should I do?" And the emergency responder was like, "Well, first make sure he's dead." So there's silence on the phone. A gunshot goes off, and he comes back on the phone. So it's like, "Okay, now what?" Now I might have butchered that, but it's kind of a funny joke, and it's kind of dark. But that is what was statistically found to be the funniest joke in the world. Let me share it here. You can share it with your friends. I don't know about you, but the flavors of Christmas for us are Kahlua and Bailey's and a little hot cocoa, all mixed together as one, and then having a good time. So there's your joke. Two hunters alone in the woods. One of them's bleeding out. I got an LOL from Monica. I love it. Thank you, Monica, for being my one audience member who says LOL. And I'm sure it's like an LOL snort, LOL snort. That's okay. And I got to work on my delivery. It is only 6 in the morning. It is only 6:47 in the morning, people. But that's the joke. Two hunters alone in the woods. I did get a thumbs up from Jessica. So maybe I'm doing something all right if I got a thumbs up from Jessica on the funniest joke in the world. But yes, you have that one. You can go rewind, watch in your own time. The funniest joke in the world with the emergency responder. I recommend it. And that, my friends, is other news. Here we go. No, I don't have a career as a comedian, but it probably will happen one day. So for today's lesson, it's very sublimely simple. It's a sublimely simple lesson today. Why? Because it's Wednesday. Ryan Chris says, I laughed if it makes you feel any better. Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. I'm glad to know you still check back on the show. And maybe if I insert some jokes now and again and work on my Jay Leno routine, maybe it'll keep the numbers up. I don't know why it tickles me so much. Maybe it's because the benign violation theory of jokes. I felt uncomfortable, and then I told the joke, and then I felt comfortable. Anyways, today's lesson is super simple. I'm not going to drag it out, my lovely people. In short, I get bothered a lot by this idea. That SMART goals are the one and only way for us to make goals. And I notice a lot of people avoid setting goals because they're paranoid it's not going to happen, or they're sick and tired of the same old spiel, the same old shtick around goal setting. And we know what SMART goals are. Like, why do SMART goals, give us an edge? I don't know about you guys, but as the year wraps up, you should be setting big goals. You should be. I would love to start getting maybe the hashtag going. Fresh start 2021. I think everyone needs a fresh start. I think you need to know it's okay to reinvent yourself. It's okay to come out of COVID with a brand new job, a brand new relationship, brand new sense of who you want to be. And so I really think you should be out there setting goals. And I know a lot of you guys, and I really believe they should be goals that also make you uncomfortable. So a few quick, like the primer on SMART goals is it specific? Meaning, could I point at and people completely understand what it means? Is it not like esoteric and heady? Is it measurable? Like, do I actually know quantifiably when that thing's done? Is it attainable? Like, it's one thing, like I can have a specific measurable goal of building the first hiking trail on the moon, right? Is that really attainable? Well, I mean, Elon Musk is making that more attainable every day, but is it really attainable? Well, then the next one comes in. Is it realistic? It might be attainable, but it's questionable, but it's definitely not realistic that I'll have the time, energy, or money to build the first hiking trail on the moon. Someone will, but not me. And then is it time bound? Can I do it this month, this year? Can I do it in my lifetime? So when you run it through the rubric of SMART, a lot of you guys are used to this. A lot of you gals are used to setting goals this way. Decent way to kind of determine if you actually have a goal, if you have a wish. It's good to have a wish. It's good to have imagination, but you need to label it what it is. I have a wish that I want to write the first $1 trillion tithe check. No, it's not a realistic, smarted goal. It's a wish. It would just be awesome to do that. But I do have a lot of measurable goals. And so when we think about goals, SMART helps, but it's missing something. And the more I do coaching, the more I talk to my coaching clients. In fact, one of my coaching clients messaged me back yesterday, and they had a huge breakthrough in what they were trying to do in their business because of this major factor. And I'm going to say it, and you're going to go, no joke, Grant, duh. Yes, but as it comes to goal setting, I think a lot of you miss this element. And I will even tell you as a personal confession, because I try to be as raw and as transparent as possible on this show, to let you guys know the type of results I get come from, the good and the challenges. I've had challenges setting goals this year, specifically because of this one element. And I'd like to give you 10 seconds. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to determine and see if you can't guess what the element of goal setting that is missing from what we know as SMART goals. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to come up with a few ideas here. And let's do this. I'm going to sip my coffee. All right. The answer is this. What most of you are missing from your SMART goals is SMART-O goals. SMART-O goals. You're missing others. People. Your goals are not centered on making the world better necessarily for a particular specific group of others. Maybe it's your kids and you think about it, but when you sit down to do goal setting for yourself, very rarely do I find that my coaching clients make it about others. But here's the other missing element: doing it through and with and by means of others. You see, others is not only the focal point of many of our goals and should be, it's also the means by which your goals will be achieved. You see, in the church, and I'm just going to call out my Christian brethren here, the church has a huge mistake when they say prayers, because they believe that those prayers get answered from the sky or from the ether or from the spirit, which, okay, symbolically, mythologically, I'll roll with. But the truth is that nearly all of your prayers get answered through others. Now, it might have been prompted by God, it might have been prompted by the Spirit, but invariably, the answers to your prayers come through others. The answers and means of your goals being achieved happens through other people. This comes by way of other people. And I deeply encourage you, when you sit down to do goals, grab your team. And I mean, not like your broader team. I know, like, for example, Ryan Christ, he has a team that's sometimes the same people, sometimes other people for TC's Mobile Detailing. But I'm not necessarily talking about those team members. I'm talking about your partner and wife or spouse or husband. I'm talking about your loved one who deeply affects the success of your goals. So my confession was, me and Marissa have kind of just been holding steady, keeping our company together. We've turned over our entire new team. We've turned over our entire project management system. We've been focusing on the minutia of the company, and we have not checked in and looked each other in the eye and said, hey, love, here are my new goals. Now, I know I could write down what Marissa's goals are right now. She could write down what some of my goals are, but we haven't had a heart-to-heart about the SMART component of those goals. And I have inherently been procrastinating my goal setting because I have a unconscious and conscious knowledge that I can't do this without Marissa. Even if we have separate goals, her with Spark Explore and taking people outside. I gave a phrase to Marissa yesterday. Revelation by elevation, taking people out to the mountains. Revelation by elevation, taking people outside. All about connecting with other people. Teresa calls it out. All about connecting with other people. 100%. Not just connecting with. But I present for y'all's consideration today as we go into the holidays, as you think about your goals, I really encourage you to think through, I need a good goal setting session. I need to set some powerful goals for me and my family and my future and my waistline and my budget, my bottom line, my waistline and my bottom line. My waistline's got to shrink. My bottom line's got to grow this year. We've got to get those things going. You will not do this without team, my friends. You will not do this without the team. So I deeply encourage you, don't SMART goals. You heard it here first. SMARTO. SMARTO your goals. Make it about others, but ask yourself not how will we accomplish this, but who can we accomplish this through and with. Now that's partnership. That's not manipulation. And I hope you hear my heart on this. I'm not talking about taking advantage of people. I'm talking about you becoming someone else's who and they becoming your who. They're your who. And by who, I'm reading a book right now called Who, Not How. Read this book. Who, Not How. And, in the world out there, some people are like, can we even do it? The level up from that is how can we do it? And there's some determination. But oftentimes, if you ask the how question, especially in a solopreneur's world, you kind of set yourself up to tackle it alone. And you're really asking, how can I do this? And then it turns into, oh my gosh, how on earth could I even do this? Instead, we need to be asking the who question. Who can we be partnering with? Because someone out there is needing a vision. Someone out there is needing respectable work. Someone out there is needing a job. You are with a vision and you need to get someone to post on your Facebook for you, email that thing to all of your potential clients, set up, as I do, set up appointments for the podcast and the interviews. You are someone's who, and they are your who. The answer through which your prayers are going to be answered, the means by which your goals will be achieved. So I present for your consideration today, food for thought. ask yourself the others question. Who can you get to partner with to get your goals done? S-M-A-R-T. Oh, smarto. I don't know why that entertains me so much. Listen, guys, remember to take the holidays. Remember to have, thank you so much for the like, Teresa. I really appreciate it. I hope you are doing fantastic today. Listen, I hope you guys are having an absolutely beautiful holiday. I hope you get out and enjoy the Grand Conjunction. Enjoy the beautiful weather. Love the people you're with. And remember the mission today. Remember the mission of a Spark citizen. Igniting lives of explosive significance, starting with your own. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Set some badass goals. And if we don't check in, because tomorrow's Christmas Eve and then Christmas, if we don't check in, don't lose heart. Check in with me on Monday, my lovelies. Have a great day.